Hi. Let's talk about this Capricorn full moon insanity that we are about to experience. And I'm calling it the inner Child Tantrum Month. So the sun moves to Cancer on Friday, the 21st of June, where it's going to find Mercury in Cancer, where, that's saying speak from the heart, and Venus in Cancer saying it's time for some emotional and relational maturity. So the Capricorn new moon on January 11th is this culmination of what we want to change and where we planted seeds around January 11th, 2024. So if you look back to that energy there, you can kind of see where we were at. And the energy that was coming through December into that Capricorn new moon on January 11th was this energy of letting go of old cycles, of old traditional patterns of thinking, and really moving forward into this more self-driven experience. So we will see where we had planted seeds, what energy we were in, what manifestations we made back then with that new moon. They will come to a culmination where we will get to see where we've succeeded and where we still need to put in a little bit of work. So the full moon is going to shine a light on where we are at in our personal and spiritual and emotional maturity, in that journey of maturing those things. And we're going to be asked to gain awareness of where we need to grow up and take responsibility. Now, this is a huge theme right now. I'm seeing this across a lot of the clients that I'm seeing, a lot of the experiences I am having online with people, that this need to take responsibility. And some of the issues that are coming up are, taking responsibility not being easy to do, because people relate that to having to take blame for the things that have happened to them, for their life. And people really struggle with that, because taking responsibility doesn't mean taking blame. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming external forces either. It means looking at how our energy and our internal monologue shapes our everyday life. Now, a lot of people are struggling with that right now. Gemini season has really allowed us to face this shadow side of us. And because we had the new moon in Gemini, it sort of brings up that darker side of our emotional space. And it made a lot of aspects with Pluto and Chiron and Lilith, and it really made this shadow side, these dark patterns, quite impossible to not see. It really brought out a lot of truth. So many people have actually been struggling emotionally, mentally, and spiritually with all of this truth that they have learned about themselves and their experiences, and how, these parts of their inner child, these traumas that they went through as a child, how those parts of them still actually hold a lot of authority with how they move through the world. And many people that have struggled with that have really either done the one or two things, okay? It's that idea of struggling, seeing it, wanting to fix it, or going the other way. And because we had a lot of energy of Pisces being in Neptune and Saturn around as well, that gives this energy of not only deluding people and bringing up childhood traumas to heal, but it also guides them into these old patterns of addictive tendencies. And Pisces and Neptune are the rulers of addiction and illness. So, these can be things like drugs, alcohol, going back to your ex, continuing down cycles of neglecting yourself, of overgiving to other people, of allowing somebody else's vision of you to affect your self-worth. All of these things that are external, that are distracting from the fact that you actually need to be looking at yourself and taking responsibility. So those people that are struggling, and all of us that have been really meeting with this shadow and being asked by disciplined daddy Saturn to take responsibility for their everyday choices and how they have an effect on their life. And you're either having a really, really hard time, or that it's going somewhere good. And because we had a lot of that Taurus energy that we haven't seen, we had the Cazimi, we had the conjunction we haven't had in a really long time, a lot of people have been affected by this in a very physical way. Their energy around them, their higher self, however you want to look at it, has really been hammering down on the relationship that we have with our physical body and whether or not we are listening to it. So a lot of these emotional and spiritual issues that have been bubbling away underneath people's surfaces that need to be looked at have started taking on physical manifestations in the way that their body is showing up, in their health, in injuries, in skin, in a lot of things that are physical manifestations of this darkness. And, we can choose to see those things for what they are and start healing from the inside out, or we can go into those addictive tendencies. So as we move into Cancer season, the shadow side really calms down and makes a little bit more room for the emotional side of that. Cancer energy is much slower than Gemini energy. Gemini energy is overthinking, it's polarity, it rules the mind and communication, whereas Cancer energy asks us to slow down a little bit so that we can see the emotions that are attached to these truths that have been uncovered in this energy of facing this shadow side. So we're really being asked, once we move into Cancer season, to learn to love ourselves unconditionally and to mother ourselves in the version of a mother that our child required but didn't get. And that doesn't mean you had a bad mother or a bad father or a bad upbringing. It means that there was a version of you that did not get the nurturing that it required, and now we are being asked to take responsibility for that and to figure out a way to do that for ourselves. But as is the axis of astrology, there is another end to the Cancer energy. And so we're also being asked to father ourselves, as is the energy of Father the Capricorn, king of discipline, denier of feelings. So he makes a double appearance with this moon to really ask you to grow up, to be mature, to take emotional responsibility for yourself and the energy that you are choosing to be in. And so this is where the inner child is going to have a tantrum. And if you have been ignoring your inner child and those wounds of your childhood, both Cancer and Capricorn are connected with our past, our upbringing, and the way that we have been programmed or conditioned from culture, society, from our family of origin. And it really brings that Cancer Capricorn polarity into vision with this double full moon light, okay? And that energy really correlates to our personal and emotional maturity journey. Cancer, the mother, father, and the father energy of Capricorn, the child to the adult, okay? And so it really is asking us, how are you going to create conditions of safety in your emotional life and in your material life? Emotional life, Cancer and the moon, material life, Capricorn, okay? So thinking of all of the lovely, soft, emotional things that come with Cancer, your inner child, your inner mother, your emotional state, and then all of the things that come with Capricorn, your inner father, your discipline energy, the adult parts of your psyche, okay? Now, this is how did your upbringing affect you energy, all right? So the first full moon that happens in 1 degree of Capricorn on the 21st is sort of the beginning. It starts to help us access this new level of awareness, which will progressively deepen during this whole month until we get to the second full moon in July, which is on the last degree of Capricorn. So in July, that moon is going to represent the completion of this personal journey. And it's actually a little bit bigger than that. So Pluto has been newly in Aquarius in January this year. Before that, it was in Capricorn. So Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius is making an aspect with this Capricorn moon at 29 degrees, and it is bringing to fruition and completion the journey of our Pluto, the underworld, and its disciplined and mature journey that started in 2008. This is collective and personal. So it really will give us this new way to gain understanding of what needs to be dismantled, destroyed, transformed, okay? Pluto is the energy of how we learn from destruction, how we transform from the material world. So the last time we actually experienced this double full moon in Capricorn was June and July 2005. So this is something that happens not very often, 8, 11, and 19 years when you look back at when it happened. And interestingly, for astrologists, and especially for me, Chiron, who represents those childhood wounds that we developed emotional programming with, that we are tasked to heal, to come into our power with so that we can teach others, was in Aquarius from February 2005. And this created a wound for people born between February 21 and July 30, 2005, and then December 2005 until about April 2010. It gave this wound, this childhood wounding, this lying voice in your head about being misunderstood, about feeling alone because you are misunderstood, because you are weird, because you think differently, because nobody quite understands how your brain works. And that is how you were conditioned growing up in those years. So with this Capricorn moon double that hasn't happened since that time period, those particular people are really being called to shine this weird light, to be okay with being different and to really step up and take their place as this example of change. And that doesn't mean you have to get up on a soapbox. It just means you have to be comfortable being yourself and let the people that don't like that fall away. Okay, you need to understand during this Capricorn energy that you are being asked to find discipline from a place of accepting your weirdness. Okay, you are being part of this collective change by showing everybody there are different ways to think. So let the inner child tantrum begin. The opening full moon is going to say, love yourself, balance your emotion and your material world, get all of your ducks in order, because the second full moon in July is going to bring down a big, loud stick by Pluto, the king of the underworld, to close out cycles. And the king of the underworld does not care what he has to take from you in order to force you to change. So anyone who has been on a journey to emotional responsibility, to spiritual awareness, doing self-introspection, trying to understand themselves, we will be able to use this energy to really focus in on finer details, on finding discipline in how we move forward, on finding discipline in how we speak to ourselves, how we nurture ourselves, how we build our material world from this place of self. And being able to really put into planning the idea of building something. Capricorn energy is I build energy. And that will help us finalize and end out this cycle. We will tap back into a revision of this Pluto Capricorn energy in September and October, just to go over, okay, are we done with all of these things? But for now, we will be done with these things. So this full moon in particular, because it is happening in Capricorn and we are in Cancer season, it is especially significant for people that are in the early degrees of the cardinal cross, which are Aries energy, Cancer energy, Libra energy, and Capricorn energy, and the late degrees of mutable energies. So Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And all of these energies, particularly the cardinal energies, are being really asked to embrace vulnerability, open your heart, expand capacities to give and receive love. So you can look on your chart where these energies are. If you have any of the cardinal energies or earth signs at 0 to 3 degrees, you're going to be very affected by this first full moon, and anything around 29 degrees, very affected by the second full moon in Capricorn. So while mummy and daddy are up in the sky asking us to have a little internal battle about our emotions and our material world discipline, we are being asked to find balance in there. We are being asked to review the rule structures that we have created from the way that our parents, that our caregivers as children programmed us. We are being asked to look at how we took their rule structure and we now use that to parent ourselves. And we are being asked to look at where those things, where belief systems we created then are actually in charge of our lives. We are being asked to see how we let those things rule over our current way of thinking. So it's an incredibly volatile month. A lot of heavy discipline energy. If you have any young children on the cardinal cross, good luck, my friend. The stubbornness you are about to see, particularly from Cancer and Capricorn, is going to be very aggressive. And the answer to the stubbornness is nurturing, and the answer to the over emotion is discipline while we are in this energy. If you would like some specific help with how to read your chart during this energy and guide you through what it is you need to be focusing on, please come and get a birth chart reading off me or an astrological counseling session off me where we can go through this energy in relation to your exact map and how it relates to you. We can also look into the birth charts of your children or your partner in comparison to yours in relation to this energy and what it is asking of you. You will find it very helpful. If you are not in a position to be able to do that, please make sure you like and follow, specifically on YouTube where I'll be posting more information, and definitely on TikTok where I post a daily update, or Instagram as well, of what is going on. It makes the energy make a little bit more sense, and it, as me a Virgo, grounds you a little bit more into where you need to be going with the energy. So you can do that by accessing my website here. And yeah, make sure you really take care of yourself. We are being asked to mother and father ourselves. So really tap into your inner child and what you needed as a child. And don't be afraid to take responsibility for the world we have created now. As human energy, we have all created our own world, and collectively, that world has been created by us too. There are going to be a lot of collective changes in the way of thinking, in the way money works, in the way investments work, in the underlying programming of how that works with this father-mother energy coming up. So we need to find our center, because the external changes that are going to be happening can be very distracting. So good luck. Come and find me if you need help. And as always, stay weird.